Well, hello, and welcome. We are going to survive this Facebook apocalypse together. It's been a while since the holidays, since all these things started. Ken Kors here, giving you your survival guide, and we have a lot of ground to cover tonight. Thanks so much to all of you who registered and to all of you who shared this, because this is basically the hottest topic in digital marketing right now. And I knew that there was no way that I could avoid talking about it. And I also know that this was actually the most popular topic that I discussed last year, because so many of you out there are trying to find leads via Facebook. You're trying to understand what the right things are to do. You're getting lots and lots of conflicting advice and lots of different things that you could be doing or that you might be doing or things that might be going wrong. And so the other thing during this is I want this to be an interactive session. If you have questions that come up during this, if you have something you want me to cover that you're not hearing at this point or you want me to do that, bring out your dead, Jill says. And of course, that's exactly what I'm doing. As all of you out there know who've been following me for a while, I have a pretty dark sense of humor, can't help myself, and I think that a lot of what's going on, especially with a lot of Facebook experts and such right now, is really kind of silly. And the good news that I have for all of you out there at this point is that the fundamentals, if you've been part of this community for a while, that you've already started learning, the things that you already know, will really help you get a head start in all of this, especially to those of you who took my How to Create Facebook Ads from Scratch course last year, which I'm going to talk about a little bit tonight and all the stuff that we're doing. But I have a PowerPoint I'm going to be going back and forth between. I have a lot of ground that I want to cover tonight, and I'm going to give you 3 really powerful tips to survive this thing. And for those of you who just have no freaking clue what's going on right now, I'm going to cover that too, because some of you don't know what this is, don't know what it means. This might be your first time hearing it, and you're like, what on earth are you talking about right now? And I understand that. That happens a lot, and a lot of the things that we're talking about. So that's just the way it is. And one of the things I want to do really quickly is I'm going to create a little picture-in-picture real quick so that I can get us ready. For those of you, I get this question all the time. For those of you who are wondering what software I use for this, I use a piece of software that's called Wirecast, which allows me to do Facebook Lives with these types of webinar. It's a one-time thing that I do for all that stuff. And so I'm going to actually get my screen capture going right there. Whoops. Yep. All right, so let me get that set real quick. Yep, screen capture, existing, boom. Then we're going to put my little face in the B right there, which is always exciting. And I'll show you guys how I did this in a minute. We'll get your capture device in here. Whoops, that's not the right one. Anyway, so I'm going to bounce over to my PowerPoint right now because I got some silly stuff prepared. And again, throughout this whole thing, bring out your dead, be ready for it. Wirecast, for those of you who are looking into it, I'm going to be going back and forth between my PowerPoint and all that good stuff. And I see Diane has joined us. And if you're out there, talk in any one of the comments. Let me know who's out there right now, because I definitely want to know who's out there, who's with me right now, who is paying attention. And let's make sure really quickly, as I make this a teeny bit smaller, I'm going to move me around. There we go. And I'm going to make me a teeny smaller. Put me at the bottom here. I'll move me around. Let me make sure I got sound when I switch to this. So now let me give you sound. There we go. So I got me right here. We will survive the Facebook zombie apocalypse. And again, I just want to check in real quick. Who all's out there? Julia's here. Cheryl's here. Welcome, welcome, everyone. If you're watching this in the event or in the Facebook group page or on my personal profile or wherever you are, I posted this in a zillion freaking places because it is the most important thing going on right now in this world. Oops, and there's some timesheet stuff I'm sure all of you were super interested in for today. So let's talk about the Facebook apocalypse, and let's talk about what's going on. So the whole freaking world is going crazy right now about what just happened on Facebook. And so if you haven't heard about it, I'm going to talk about it right now. And so this is Mark Zuckerberg. If you ever heard of this guy, you've seen a movie called The Social Network. Most of you have at this point. There he is making a really funny face. This is Mark Zuckerberg. He's the founder of Facebook, and he just announced major changes to the Facebook timeline. And so one of the things that's most misunderstood about Facebook is that most people don't understand from the very beginning how the Facebook Facebook timeline works. Most people don't fully understand what it is or what it does or what the purpose is. And so for those of you who aren't as experienced on Facebook right now, let me give you a little clue. So most of you think, all right, I got my Facebook profile or I got my Facebook page. I have 100 people that follow me on my Facebook profile. So when I post something, when I share a link or when I share a video or when I do a Facebook Live or when I post the status, most people think, oh, that's going to my whole audience. It's going to my 100 friends. Well, Facebook has something that's called reach. It is their special algorithm that decides for you who your friends are, what people want to see content from you, whether or not people actually like what you're doing, any of those types of things. Facebook reach is deciding what your friends actually see. So you're actually being graded or scored on almost every single thing that you post on Facebook. And for those of you who didn't know that, this may be a total shock to you because you might have gone, I worked really hard to get those 100 leads. I worked really hard to connect with those 100 people. I sent out messages. I might have spent money on ads. I might have done all those things. And so a lot of people think, oh, that's exactly how it works at this point. All right, so I post, it goes out to my friends. Well, sadly, that's not how it works, actually. And so let's talk about what he talked about specifically when he talked about changes to the timeline. And it's kind of like previous apocalypse. I just wanted to come up with a funny plural for this type of stuff because there have been many previous apocalypse online. And some of those things have included like the Google promo inbox, for those of you who haven't heard of it, when Google started sending all of your promotional emails to a dedicated folder that no one could see, when they made big changes to AdWords, or when Facebook introduced reach in the first place. So actually, this is not the first digital marketing, internet marketing, social media apocalypse. There have actually been many apocalypse, which is the best thing that we've got going on right now. And so the good news is you can learn the lessons from what happened in these previous instances to get better. And for those of you who don't know specifically what that means, I'm going to talk about it specifically tonight so that you walk away going, all right, I'm prepared for this. I'm ready to go into my Facebook bunker. I'm going to be ready to go. I wish I would have worn, some Thriller makeup or something tonight. Would have just made this have a lot more effect in what we're talking about. But the good news is this has all happened before. It will happen again. And I'm going to give you a really critical piece of advice in just a second right here that all of you need to keep in mind when it comes to your business, no matter what your business is. But this is not the first time that this stuff has happened. And so you will see, these are the direct quotes that came from Mark Zuckerberg in USA Today. And so these are the exact quotes, and I'm going to keep coming back to these again and again because they're really critical when we're talking about what's going to change and what's different. So Mark Zuckerberg says, you will see more status updates that spark meaningful social exchanges. And we'll talk about that in just a second. What does that mean? And then public content, posts from businesses, brands, and media is crowding out the personal moments that lead us to connect more. So I would like everyone who's watching this at this point to go ahead and collectively roll your eyes. If you can post the roll your eyes moment or emoji in Facebook at this point, meaningful social interaction, like all of the meaningful social interaction that we've had politically, with businesses, with all these things over the past year. So what this statement actually is, for those of you who are wondering, is damage control. Is the fact that young people by droves are just not signing up for Facebook at all, or not using Facebook. People aren't having meaningful social exchanges on Facebook. They feel flooded by ads. They feel flooded by negativity. They feel flooded by posts and things that they don't want to see at this point. And so that makes it a horrible experience for their users. So what Mark Zuckerberg is really saying here, and I'm going to talk about this in depth in a second, is that public content has gone down the tubes. And I love Allison Smith's eye rolling. She posted her eyebrow emoji. And a lot of people out there, because how many of you at this point are going like, oh man, when's the last time I had some meaningful exchanges on Facebook? It's actually something I care about and try to do, especially with my post yesterday. But for a lot of people, it's like, does that ever really even happen? Are there meaningful exchanges anymore? Well, the truth is that there are meaningful exchanges, and there's a measurement that Facebook is using for meaningful exchanges, which I'm going to talk about in a second here. And so what does this mean is what you all want to know. What does this mean exactly? So what this really means, and you might as well have just said it this way, it's about to get a lot harder to reach your audience if you don't have a good strategy. If you're not organized, if you're not prepared, if you're just throwing stuff at the wall, if you're not sure about how all this stuff works, if you just go, all right, I'm just going to keep trying to throw the spaghetti and hope that it works, the chances are that that's going to be a really rough ride for you. Because if you don't have a good strategy, if you aren't focused on combining some of the things we're talking about tonight, or if you really need help, you better get help, because you're about to get invisible, which is about to be what's going to happen to all of you. And that's already happened, actually, over the past few months. In fact, one of the big things that happened over the holidays, for those of you who are watching some of my posts, and I know I was a little quiet over the holiday season, but for those of you who are watching my post, I shared a couple things about Facebook ads over the holidays, in that Facebook ads, on average, went up about 200% in cost across the board. And reach, for most pages, went down, again, on average, about 20 to 30% more. And the reality is that most people aren't posting what's considered to be quality content. And I'm going to keep going back to those exact words that spark meaningful exchanges. And so I'm going to talk specifically about what that means, how they're probably measuring it, because keep in mind, Facebook is a text system, it's a computer, it's running off an algorithm. It doesn't really know what meaningful exchanges are. It's just making guesses of what meaningful exchanges are. And it's placing value on things like your likes, like your comments, like your shares. All that good stuff is what it's placing value on. And so that is what I'm going to talk about specifically tonight. How do you create value in the things that you're doing? And again, I love that I love the eye roll emojis in there, and I'm keeping an eye on the chat, so I'm bouncing back and forth. If you have questions, I know I talk fast. I'm actually going to mention that in a moment. But ask questions. Let me know what you need. Let me know what you want to know. And so let's go back to it. It's going to get harder is what this really means. And so I'm going to give you a TLDW. For those of you who don't speak internet or who don't know what that means, TLDR or TLDW stands for too long didn't watch or too long didn't read. And so this is the TLDW of this training. Don't count on other businesses to make decisions based on your business interests. What most people forget about Google, about Facebook, about all of these companies is that they are companies of their own. They have business objectives and shareholders that they're beholden to. Facebook's interest is to do good for Facebook. Google's interest is to do good for Google. YouTube's interest is to do good for YouTube. So they are businesses that have their own interests. And although they do support a lot of businesses and they have great services and they have great training and they have all that great stuff, for the most part, you shouldn't and can't be counting on, the benevolent Facebook to care about your clients, to care about what you're doing, to care about your business goals, to care about your objectives, to really care about anything when it comes to you. And in fact, I'm going to break it down even further in a second here when I keep going ahead. But don't count on them to care or give a crap about your objectives. And my goal for this is to make sure you know specifically what to do. So you can walk away from this tonight and say, if I want meaningful interaction, if I want to continue to find leads and clients, what are the specific things I'm going to need to do? What are the things I'm going to need to pay attention to? And I'm going to compare and contrast what Facebook wants with what you want, which is to generate leads and to find customers and to build community, which is what I want as well. And so your job, and you just heard me say this a few minutes ago, is to follow Mark Zuckerberg's commands on Facebook at this point. Your job is now to spark meaningful social exchanges at this point. Cheryl, great question. Does this change anything we learned from me about setting up a website and pointing Facebook to it? No, actually, I'm going to speak to that specifically tonight. It just changes how and when you introduce websites or how and when you do that. So bringing people into Facebook is always going to make Facebook happy at this point. But some things have shifted as far as strategy, which I'm going to talk about tonight, which are going to get you more bang for your buck. And they're going to be things that you're going to need to keep in mind as you're going through this process. You're going to need to understand specifically how they work, because it is going to change things a little bit outside of one or two specific areas. But your job as a business owner, as a small business entrepreneur, whatever you want to call yourself, as a community leader, whatever you are, is now to spark meaningful social exchanges. And so let's talk about that and what that means. And for those of you who don't know me, because I know some of you out there are new, I just want to show a little bio for me. So I've been in the digital marketing industry really since I was a teenager. I've been building websites and doing providing marketing services since I was a kid. I've done it at a high level now for the past 16 years as part of my career. I've worked and run a successful Facebook marketing agency. I've been a digital marketer, a speaker, a trainer, and an expert for many years. But I just like to show that because I've been at the helm or working on teams who've generated over $50 million in online sales through product launches and in a variety of different industries. So anything from small business training to nonprofit to personal development to executive coaching to real estate to IT to stationery and art supplies. So lots of different businesses, lots of different experience. Some of you actually out there, I see some of the names right now, know me from direct sales training and that kind of thing. But if you don't know me and you're like, why should I listen to this guy other than that he makes good jokes and makes me type in emojis in the Facebook thing, that's a little bit about why you should be listening to what I have to say about this. And I've been taking a deep dive over the past 3 years as a marketing agency into these various areas, specializing on the paid traffic side. So I'm going to talk a bit more about that tonight. And then one other thing I mentioned, and I like to mention this on any training I do talk fast, and I'm not going to slow down. This session will be recorded. Take notes. You can go back and review the session again. I will be replaying the session, and in fact, I'll be setting this up so that you can invite friends, people you know, anybody that needs to know this information. You'll be able to invite them, and they'll be able to participate in their own chat and their own session and all that stuff with this. So that's going to be set up pretty shortly after this is over. So for those of you who might partner with us or who might want to understand, all right, I want to share this with my team, with my people, I can do that. And I talk fast because I know a lot of you don't have tons of time. You want to get through this stuff quickly, and so I'm going to do that just by factor of talking really fast throughout this process. So my disclaimer, I show this on almost every single webinar I do or every single Facebook Live I do. Doing one webinar, even if it's the most awesome webinar ever, which I like to believe I deliver pretty awesome content, isn't going to guarantee you results, can't teach you every single step of the process, and won't do all of the work for you. In fact, it will do very little of the work for you because a lot of you are going to have some decisions to make after tonight to figure out specifically how you're going to do what you're going to do going forward and how you're going to make this all work. And again, I will be taking interaction and questions throughout this. I'll stick around as long as you stick around. So if you have questions, if you want to know stuff, go ahead and do that here. So let's move to the next step. So surviving the apocalypse, it might not be easy. And that's the big word of warning that I'm going to give to you, is that this may not be an easy transition for some of you, especially those of you who have avoided things like content marketing strategy, those of you who have avoided creating things, those of you who have tried to keep it really simple, those of you in industries or areas that Facebook is now, kind of unfriendly to or doesn't really like. And they'll say over time that, they just don't really like certain industries and they're very hostile towards certain things for what they're doing. And so you want to make sure over time that you're focused on doing the right things as often as you can for what you're doing and kind of getting through this process. So it might not be easy. So here's the other thing. You don't have to be a marketing professional to be a good marketer. And a lot of us, especially those of us that run agencies, we're on marketing teams, we're people that do this all the time. In fact, some of the best marketers I've seen are people that over time understand specifically, that it's all about connection. It's all about relationship. And on all of my sessions, I like to talk about the golden rule, which is if you care about your customers, and you truly care about their experience, and you value the work that you're going to do with them, they're going to care about you. That is the golden rule. If you hang this slide or you print this sign or you write it out, for a lot of you, you might need to write this out as a reminder for what you're doing. But if you care about your customers, they're going to care about you. They're going to care about what you want. They're going to care about your goals. They're going to be engaged in your business. They're going to show up. They're going to make sure, that you're supported in all the things that you do. And so if you don't do that, then chances are you're going to be invisible after this algorithm shift starts to go into effect. And word to the wise for a lot of you, a lot of this stuff has already been in effect and started, as long as 6 months ago, maybe even a year ago, a lot of these things started. So keep that in mind. Your golden rule really matters here. And so let's talk about survival tip 1. And I'm going to get into 3 big tips we're going to talk about tonight, and then what you can do to work on these things going forward. But this is kind of the core of digital marketing these days. Good content. And a lot of people just don't know what good content means. So I'm going to talk about that for a second. And so, of course, I'm going to put some great content on the screen with that guy and his fish face, which is one of my favorite gifts from last year. But really, what does good content do? And think about good television. Think about things you like Game of Thrones, if you're a Game of Thrones fan, or things that are addictive to you. They're doing one of 3 things, or, multiple of these things at once. Good content is something that's entertaining, So it's something that keeps people's attention. It keeps them interested. It makes them laugh. It makes them, stick with you through good times and bad. It's entertaining. It creates controversy. And for those of you who are wondering about controversy and whether controversy is effective, see the United States political situation and really any political situation over the past year. Controversy sells. Controversy moves products. Controversy gets presidents elected. When you're willing to say the things that other people won't say, when you're willing to come out and represent something that most people are not willing to come out and represent at this point, then it really makes a difference. And so don't be afraid to be controversial. Don't be afraid to say things that other people won't say. And then also educate. And this is on something that people actually care about, not something that you made up. And this is really a critical point because most people are trying to do things, and a lot of people do what I call make-up conditions. And again, it's not impossible to do this. And what I'm gonna cover in my next survival tip is it's not impossible to do this. It's not impossible to make up points. It's not impossible to create and carve out your own niche. It's just generally a bit more expensive, and it generally takes longer to create conversation. And now, keep in mind, as I said before, Facebook looking for these meaningful social engagements is really judging you and grading you a lot earlier. And the worse and worse you are, so let's say you post a couple of bad posts in a row and you go on a bad streak where things aren't working out for you, the more and more you're going to be penalized. And this is already what started to happen over the past year. If you weren't sharing good content, you were already starting to get invisible. And then what also started to happen was, once you started getting invisible, the problem just got worse and worse. It compounds upon itself. So you go from, just having one or two posts that aren't showing up very well to having many, many posts that don't show up very well. And then once you're on that downward trajectory, the only way to get out is to spend, which we're going to talk about in a second, because really at that point, your reach goes down. Facebook is now saying, we're the gatekeeper of your content. We don't think you provide meaningful and valuable social interaction. And so you have to educate on things that are interesting to people. And for most of you, the shortcut is you want to focus on the first two a lot more, about entertaining or creating controversy at this point. So you really want to focus over time on what are the ways that you can stand out from a news feed that's super duper noisy. Like right now, for me, that's why I went so hard on this apocalypse angle, for those of you who are looking at it. And I realized that there was only one other marketer that I saw, a good friend of mine, Adam, and I realized after I'd done it, I hadn't seen his stuff before, that he was joking about it too, my friend Adam Urbanski. And so, yeah, we were the only two that were coming out trying to say something different, while everyone else was trying to focus on this more value or this more non-offensive kind of thing. And I just wanted to be different. I wanted to say, you know what, the sky is falling, everything is burning down, bring out your dead, Facebook is dead, it's all over. Even the subject line on the email I sent out basically said, Facebook's dead, you need to show up to know why, here's what's happening. And again, that's a statement a lot of people are scared to make, a lot of people, wouldn't make for whatever reason. So, don't be afraid to entertain, don't be afraid to create controversy. My hope was that when you saw the promo materials leading up to this event, that you laughed, or that you're like, what on earth is Ken talking about? That was my hope. And for a lot of you, you've got to do the same stuff. You have to be willing to stand out. You have to be willing to be different. You have to be willing to say the thing the other guy doesn't say. And that doesn't always mean that you have to, get all over the other guy and bag on the other guy. You can reference the other guy or the other girl or the other gal or your other competitor at this point. But those are the three things that really define what good content is. And I try to keep it that simple. Entertain, create controversy, or educate on something people actually want to talk about. And so let's go to the next place. So let's talk about what Facebook wants when it comes to this. So again, I'm going to keep going back to their specific words, Zuckerberg's specific words: meaningful social interaction, i.e. conversation over likes, which is a big thing. It's very easy. So what they're trying to avoid, and Zuckerberg referenced this specifically in what he was talking about, what they are trying to avoid is the endless scrolling through the news feed. So the Facebook zombies, which all of us, I have my phone and they're just zombies scrolling through all of the different things on the feed and just liking. They're not going to weight likes and maybe not even shares as highly as they used to. Now, what they're really looking for is sticky content, the things you want to see on Facebook, bringing the cream of the crop to the top, getting you talking, getting you moving forward, and then you see that phenomenon happen. And you saw it again yesterday when I posted something that was true about me, that the last quarter of 2017 was a really difficult time for me after experiencing a lot of loss in my life, a lot of loss in my business. I kind of stepped back, and then from a technical perspective, I started to see my Facebook stuff sliding down, both on my pages and my profile, and then I started getting into that hole where it's either spend to get out or it's do something really meaningful. And so again, I just told the truth. I said, look, everybody on Facebook always talks about the good times. I'm not a person that's afraid to talk about the bad times in my business, or when things aren't perfect, or when things don't work. And a lot of us are afraid to be ourselves. And what you don't realize is that in marketing and sales, and especially when you're on a stage, the more yourself that you can become, the better off you tend to be in business. And so for a lot of you, finding that authentic voice and finding things that spark conversation really work. This is why a lot of people see silly questions all the time, or preference questions, or A versus B, those types of things. So the next point that I want to talk about, I'm going to remove my face for a second, is video, 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 video. Facebook Live is still hot, my people. And so Facebook Live right now is so hot, and video on Facebook in general is hot, because think about Facebook's business interest here. Facebook is in a competition to the death with Google. Google is the other major ad platform. Both Google and YouTube are up against them. Facebook is trying so hard to make a footprint in video. So video and Facebook Live in particular is still hot, and especially ones that get lots of comments, lots of interactions. You can guarantee that those things are going to be shown to lots and lots and lots of people at this point. And so just checking my comments here, Diane says, Cheryl, it needs to be strategic controversy. And that's right. And I don't just mean politics. Controversy doesn't mean politics. You can start a debate in which your product wins. So let me, Diane's exactly right. Let me clarify what I mean by controversy. That doesn't mean say things that upset people. Occasionally it might. And there was a great post I saw today, which a speaker was asking about, do you have to be polarizing to be successful? And I think you have to have a little bit of that, no matter what your business is. You have to be willing to say the thing that your competition won't say, or to be honest in a way that your competition won't. If you're trying to put on a business face, which a lot of people really do, and it's not authentic, or it's weird, or you're kind of always spouting a company line or your line or those types of things, once the interaction starts to go away, what you know now is that the people seeing your post will go away. They will no longer see your post, is what's going to start happening. So I don't just mean political, and I know I brought up political because it's an easy example for right now. If you look at the United States political situation right now, and you see how crazy, like Facebook's algorithm was responding like crazy. So this is why you saw a phenomenon like Facebook or fake news. This is why you saw phenomenons like echo chambers, because people were engaging with that content. They had lots to say. Whether it was good or bad or indifferent, they had lots to say. Uplines simplify things. If they say controversy is okay, that means unpopular opinion or politics. That doesn't always just mean something unpopular. It might mean being vulnerable. It might mean saying things that, again, sharing parts of yourself that other people aren't willing to share. Talking about yourself in a way that other people aren't willing to talk about themselves. People are dying for authenticity right now. We're really entering an era where relationship matters. People aren't going to buy something if they're not confident in their relationship with you, and if they're not engaged with you. And at this point, what Facebook is now saying is you just won't even be seen if people aren't having a conversation with you. So they'll let you keep posting along and keep putting your stuff on your Facebook wall, but no one's going to see it, is really what's going to happen when that starts going on. And so let's talk a little bit more about the next point. So stuff that keeps them on Facebook, which I'm going to show that slide. And then I'm going to put ad revenue. So again, to break this slide down before I keep describing it further, meaningful social interaction, video, 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 stuff that keeps them on Facebook, and then I put use Facebook as your content face a lot of the time, and ad revenue. So and then I'm going to talk about what you do with this information, but that's what Facebook wants. Those are their business interests. They need to overcome their crappy reputation, which I talked about a little bit here. And so again, focusing on things that Facebook wants is going to mean that you have a better chance of getting in front of your audience, which is what you want, is to be in front of your audience. So remember, if you support Facebook's business interests when you're using their platform, then they're going to highlight you a lot more. So what does this mean for you? What to do? And this is the big thing. Entertain, engage, enthrall. Other adjectives that start with the letter E. Just E all day long. E. Entertain, engage, enthrall, embolden, impassion. And I'm going to spell things wrong just to fit E words in there. But E adjectives. So Keep people engaged is really the big thing here. Keep it on Facebook. So for a lot of you who have landing pages, you have explanations, you're constantly trying to drive people to your website, you actually want to try to keep as much of that conversation, the Q&A, all that stuff on Facebook. Keep using Facebook Live. And I know most of you, a bunch of you who are watching this, I know are avid Facebook Live peeps. I know Julia is, I know Diane is, I know Allison is. I'm pretty sure I've seen Cheryl on Facebook Live before. So a lot of you out there are already doing the Facebook Live thing, which is phenomenal. If you're not, it's something you need to start. Video, video, video. It's so hot right now, people. So you want to stick with that, and you want to make sure that you got video, video, video. Links in comments, not in your main post. This is a strategy a lot of people don't realize, but a lot of times, if your main post on your Facebook wall includes a link, especially if it's not a link that is Facebook vetted, or is that something that they like or something that they want, or any of those things, chances are it's going to be shown a lot less. This doesn't mean it's not going to be shown at all, but this is why you see so many of the experts right now posting links in their first comment. So they'll post the big long post of that kind of thing, and then they will post the link in the comments. There's a reason for that, because it's manipulating that algorithm, and we have to keep doing that as long as we can, because again, if it's links off Facebook, chances are you're going to be penalized. And if it's links off Facebook to stuff that they hate, even more than that, things like YouTube or Google sites or stuff that they don't want to send people to, oh boy, is that really going to hurt your reach. And so again, I advise you, if you don't believe me, test these things. Go post a post with a YouTube link, see how far it gets versus a Facebook Live video or a Facebook video. Go post something that links to an outside site rather than something that links to your Facebook group, and see what happens. Even tonight, when you saw what I did, I shared a Facebook Live video with all my various pages. It got way more traction than when I share links to my external site, when I share it to that type of thing. Jill says, that is my downfall. I'm not really shy. Can't seem to get over that hump to do the Facebook Lives. You have to bring out your dead. Bring out your inner dead. You're exactly right at this point. So again, Facebook Live, and it doesn't even have to be Facebook Live. It could just be Facebook video. So if you do your videos and you record them and you upload them directly to Facebook, that works fine as well. They're trying to establish themselves as a video platform. It really matters. And then one last tip I want to give for this that's really important. Use ads, retargeting, Messenger, or other means to get them to your site. So a lot of times, this is going to be the way you're actually going to have success in people finding your opt-in pages, your sales pages, and those types of things. Because the next point, and I'm pretty sure it's my next slide, I want to show it real quick. So everyone got their notes on this. The E adjectives, keep it on Facebook. Use Facebook Live. Link in the comments, not your main post. Use ads, retargeting, Messenger, or other means to get them to your site. Unless it's content, which Facebook likes content at this point. Diane has a great point. If you have a YouTube, download the video at this point and upload direct to Facebook. Exactly. What about using an outside app to do Facebook Live with two co-hosts like BeLive, Zoom? All that's fine because it's being broadcast on Facebook. So that doesn't seem, if you're doing video, BeLive, Zoom, all the stuff that plugs in, Wirecast plugs into this, does not seem to have an impact because you're still broadcasting on Facebook Live. So at this point, that's not a problem. And so take notes on that slide, because I'm going to show the next slide real quick, because Facebook still loves your money. Survival tip 2. So for those of you who don't realize it, that's Facebook's business model. They don't make money if you're not paying them or someone's not paying them. So don't be deceived that Facebook doesn't want your sweet, sweet cash and they're not still trying to reach into your wallet. Facebook still loves your money, no matter what they say about brands and all that stuff being pushed off. So what it means is if you're not spending with them, chances are you're going to be penalized even more. So that means the days of not knowing Facebook ads or placing Facebook ads are probably over. Facebook still loves you sweet, sweet cash, friends. Facebook's entire business model is still based on advertisers, no matter what they say. They can be saying anything to you. Keep in mind, the way Facebook has its billions valuation and has what it has is that at the end of the day, Facebook is a giant advertising platform. So ads aren't going anywhere. And those of you who started learning ads with me last year or taking that course with me last year understand that Zuckerberg still wants your cash at this point. And I love what Allison says. Facebook wants too much of my cash and doesn't do much for me anymore. And so let me give tips for that. Even though this isn't necessarily about Facebook, I want to speak to that point. If you're looking for social networks that aren't gamed as much as Facebook is, and especially if you have the female audience or you have a younger audience, you need to be looking to things like Pinterest, Snapchat, Instagram for now, but keep in mind that Instagram is owned by Facebook, and all that stuff is really gonna be a difficult thing at this point. But at this point, keep in mind that those are the 3 to really target. And I'm gonna talk a bit about strategy with that and Facebook tonight before we wrap. But Facebook, even Twitter, a lot to some degree, really heavily leveraged off of ad budget. So younger markets, women's markets, other marketplaces are great. And you're right, Facebook is being a gatekeeper now. It sucks. It's the way it is. I agree. I hate the business model. I've never been a huge Facebook fan in that regard. But their business model is still based on ads. So if ads are somehow part of your strategy, which doesn't mean spending zillions of dollars, it might mean boosting posts at the right time. It might mean retargeting at the right time. They're going to show more of your stuff to other people. But don't let Zuckerberg fool you. They still want your money. So let's talk about what that means. What does Facebook want? And again, I'm putting those words up on the screen again. Meaningful social interaction. So what does that translate to in the ad space? Ads that people don't hate. And if your ads are getting complaints, that's even worse. If your ads are getting negative comments, that's even worse. All of those things really, really challenging at this point. So if you're going to place ads, they can't be ads that people hate, which means you have to avoid super salesy content. You have to avoid copy that they don't like. You want to do whatever you can. And again, it's not always possible. Sometimes you're going to get complaints. Sometimes things aren't going to work. But again, your reach is going to dramatically expand the minute you start spending money with Facebook. Again, video, video, video. Notice I have that here. Facebook loves video ads with subtitles. This is why you see the Gary Vaynerchuk phenomenon, or people that love videos, especially video ads with subtitles, because they're automatically playing those videos at this point. And at that point, you want to make sure that you're keeping in mind that you have subtitles, because people aren't always listening to the sound on Facebook videos. Web pages and offers that meet Facebook guidelines. And then notice I have this in parentheses. This will likely get a lot more strict now. It means that even though they've already been banning accounts and dropping the hammer and making it hard and doing all of those things that they're doing, my guess is with this algorithm change, they're going to get even worse, which means if you're sending the stuff that they don't like, it's going to be a lot more expensive. It's going to be a lot harder to do. It's probably not going to work as well. Gina, does the link in the post still apply to Facebook ads, or should the ad linked in your opt-in page need to be in the comments of the ad? On ads, especially conversion type, you can still drive to your landing page. So in ads, it's a different ballgame than it is in organic. And so when I talk about organic, I mean unpaid. When I talk about ads, and for specific types of ads at this point, you want to make sure that you have a site that meets the Facebook guidelines. And I talk about that a lot in Facebook at this point. How do you create or turn on subtitles? Is this like captioning, Diane says? Great question. Yes, you can add captions to the video in Facebook and use Facebook captions. And a lot of people now, when they're editing the videos, will actually put in subtitles at the bottom. They'll like put them in, hard code them into the video. So you just put text in the video and whatever your editing software is. Captioning is the easiest way to do it. You can do that with YouTube as well. YouTube actually auto-translates, even though the auto-translates are really bad and funny. But yes, it's like captioning is what that means. So hopefully that answered both your questions. Keep the questions coming. Jill, you do have to rip the Band-Aid off. You're totally right for Facebook Live. But Facebook still loves your money. So what does this mean for you? Oops, I want to put that here. So meaningful social interaction. So it means your ads have to feel like content, which is the same as it's always been. I talked about that in Facebook ads last year when I delivered that course. Ads that people don't hate really matter now. So if it feels salesy, if it feels too spammy, if it doesn't feel like something that's creating conversation or will have meaningful interaction on Facebook, it's going to be bad. Video, 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 it's even better. And again, they will give you cheaper clicks with video. Now, let me give you one side note on that, especially with what I experienced last year in placing ads for my agency, is that video will generally get you cheaper clicks, but you will generally need to have a better campaign because those cheaper clicks come at the cost of people that may not be as engaged. So if you need engagement quickly, you want to still stick with the tried and true image and content ad or long form copy ad. So you want to focus on those things, whereas video, if you want to get in front of a lot of people for cheap, which is a lot of you do, and then retarget them to bring them into your process and have a longer cycle, video is really good. So keep in mind the cost model of what you're doing and what you're spending and your budgets and all of those things are going to come into play based on whether you do video ads, whether you do the standard old ads, and what type of ads you choose to use, whether it's conversion, engagement, entertainment, any of those types of things. And this can change over time. For right now, and I've seen I would say at least 3 to 4 major shifts in the past year for what types of ads are working better, what's getting the cheapest clicks, and what's getting you quality clicks and targeting, which I'm going to talk about on other sessions coming up, and I'm going to talk about in the program this year, which I'm also bringing up later tonight. But this is what Facebook wants. So you got to balance that, and there may be some questions about that in the chat. So ask those questions in the chat if you want to know the answer to that. So survival tip 3, this is my last tip for survival for the night. Have a good customer experience. And I'm going to talk about what that means, because Facebook is going to be policing you a lot more right now is what this all really means. Facebook is paying more attention to the quality of the content they share. If they deem it's something they don't like, then you got problems. And that means you got to have a good customer experience. So let me just remind you, for those of you who've ever watched my session, my training, which I'm going to do a new version of that coming up soon as well, the 5 things you need to know before you start marketing. There's really 2 things that people care about. They care about pain, or they care about opportunity. And so in a quality customer experience, you're properly juggling both of these things. So you're juggling the statements from your customer, like, if I don't do this, I never will, versus if I take action now, tomorrow will feel a lot different. Or if I can't do this now, then I'll never figure it out, versus if I take action, I'll get an amazing deal. Or if I take action now, people will notice. Or if I take action now, life changes for the better. And then if I pass this up now, then I won't remember to do it again. So again, you got to focus on motivators and the things that I talked about. Your entertainment, your controversy, and your education has to happen all through that. Let me see what Gina says. I had a Facebook ad running last week, got over 1,000 views, but only a few clicks and no more than 10 actual opt-ins. Send me the details on your ad. So all I need to see is the spend amount, the clicks, how much you were spending per click, and the relevance score. So if you just clip that and send it to me, I'm happy to review that for you, Gina, and give you what I notice, what I see. And again, that's something big I'm going to be talking about tonight when I talk about our new Facebook ads course that's coming out. So keep these things in mind, the 2 primary motivators. And again, keep in mind what Facebook wants. So meaningful social interaction, conversations, shares, and sticky content. This likely means likes are going to be a lot less important. Doesn't mean they're not important at all, but it means, they're going to be a penny, a share is going to be a nickel, and a conversation is going to be a quarter. Whatever it is, you want to keep in mind that conversations are really what you're trying to drive right now. Ask questions, do comparisons, get opinions, use the sticky content features like polls on Facebook to manage your customer experiences. And as I said, they want to improve their crappy reputation. So this is really important. Fake news, politics, mean people, all that stuff. And they also want to see that you're bringing people back to Facebook. So this goes back to Cheryl's question that she had earlier of, are you bringing people from your website back into your Facebook experience, and vice versa? Facebook is still looking for those things. And although it's not something that you can prove on the front end or something that they're going to make an official press release about or something, it's still something that I know benefits you. So you want to make sure that you're using, and you can do this a variety of ways, like on your membership site, on your website, you might use Facebook comments, which again is sharing that information in the Facebook ecosystem. That can help you as well. But you want to make sure that Facebook, for better or for worse, depending on how reliant you're going to be on Facebook, to bring people back into that ecosystem. It's really important. And I'm just going to make sure that I don't have any other questions. If you have questions or feedback before I wrap this portion of the session tonight, make sure you ask those. I'll stick around and answer everything I see tonight. I know people hate Facebook ads, and I'm going to talk about that in a second tonight, because everyone's like, I'm throwing money down the hole, and I want to talk about that strategy piece tonight and just the realities of Facebook ads at least a little bit. So what are the most important lessons that you're going to get out of all of this? And I'm going to show them on the screen without my face for a second. So your survival tips. This is what I talked about. Share good content, place Facebook ads, which I know everyone's like, ugh, or don't use Facebook, or don't make Facebook the center of your strategy. And then think through your entire customer experience, especially where Facebook can get your sweet, sweet retargeting dollars, which is what Facebook really wants. So if you have organized experiences, if you are doing things like that, then you want to keep that in mind, that overall you want to make sure that you are thinking through that experience. And when you leverage Facebook retargeting, when you build custom audiences, when you do the type of things that Facebook wants you to do, which again still revolves around Facebook cash, all those things, sharing good content, placing Facebook ads, thinking through your experience from start to finish, because Facebook wants those things to happen. And I know a lot of you, I want to put this in the chat tonight as well. What if despite all of this, you're not sure what to do? I know a lot of you might be in that spot tonight. I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And as Cassandra says, gearing up to create some ads, not looking forward to figuring out all the red tape. I know that's the exciting part about Facebook ads. I know a lot of people hate that aspect of Facebook ads. I know it's not the most fun, but it's just the reality of it. It's something that I really didn't like doing, and to be honest, I still don't love doing it, but now I'm at the point where I've been doing it long enough and managing it for various customers and people I've worked with that you just kind of have to learn it. It's the nature of the ecosystem. It's the same way it was on Google, and you've seen organic reach and SEO have a lot of changes over the years. With Google, that's changed a lot too, and I have experts that I talk to a lot about that as well in my mastermind groups. I have experts here in the Boston area like Ron Coming, who I work with, who knows all that. And so for a lot of you, despite all this, you're not sure what to do. And you're like, all right, what do I do now? So first and foremost, ask questions. Use this group. Use our community. That's what it's here for. Gina, share your ad and all that stuff at this point. So if you're not sure what to do, let's talk about what to do. Because I am launching a brand new version of what used to be called How to Create Facebook Ads from Scratch. And so I'm changing it up because here's the reality of things. And I want to show the slide on the screen real quick. But let's talk a little bit about this, because what I realized about last year's program and what I was doing in Facebook ads, which was primarily just a live digital program and all that stuff, is it was missing a few components. It was missing the type of feedback that people wanted to know at this point, that a lot of people need the refresher, and they needed some different components in here. So you needed one-on-one strategy feedback. So one of the things I'm adding this year, and in fact it's not just going to be about Facebook ads this year, is there's going to be a one-on-one strategy session that's included with everybody that takes this course. So anybody that jumps in on the program this year at this point is going to get one-on-one strategy feedback. You got to know the strategies for your profile, your business pages, your groups, and your ads combined. So I'm going to talk a lot more than just ads this year. Whereas last year's course, I focused specifically just on the ads aspect of it. I'm still going to provide just as much detail this year as I did last year on ads. And I know Jill out there has taken the course. Cheryl took the course last year. So I spent almost 10 hours last year in training. For those of you that have watched it in the premium community, you understand just how much detail I went into in that course. So there's going to be that same level of detail with the new ad rules and some of the new tricks that have come up over the past year and the new ways to get things done. But I'm going to also talk about organic. I'm going to talk about direct outreach. I'm going to talk about all those things. And I'm going to be talking about it here in the community too as well. So keep that in mind. But a lot of you need to know the whole strategy, so I'm going to talk a lot more about those changes, organic strategy, how to manage your profile, how to manage your pages, how to manage your groups, how it fits into an integrated strategy. Because the best strategies with Facebook aren't just placing ads to some nebulous thing and not having it connected into the rest of what you do. And for those of you who remember last year's course or have heard me before, retargeting is going to be where the sales happen. It's going to be where the conversion happens. It's where people are going to get on your list. Generally, your first chance ads are not where those conversions and things are happening. Stay out of Facebook jail. A lot of you need to do that. There is a Facebook jail. There's a Facebook ads jail. There is a Facebook organic jail now, which basically means you're just invisible. That's really bad. And a lot of you need customer experience work. You've been working on this a long time. You're not sure what to do. And so I'm really focused more on results this year. Same level of training with some added components. So there's going to be more training sessions. There's going to be additional feedback. And I'm adding some one-on-one stuff. So let's talk about what that means specifically for this program. So I'm going to combine, as always, the tactical stuff with the support. It's the thing that makes me different. It's the thing I care about in my business, all those types of things. And so let's talk about what I'm going to do and what's included in the course this year. So one-on-one strategy session with me at this point. So you're going to complete the same onboarding process that I do with any of my agency clients, the people that hire me to do this for them, which I don't really do that much anymore. So I'm going to walk you through the same onboarding process. We're going to do the same type of strategic campaign review that I do with them. You can get feedback, suggestions for improvement. I'm going to give you a strategy, and I'm going to give you a funnel diagram back. So you will know what to execute when you go back. Then you can stop worrying about your algorithm updates or depending on outside platforms for your success. So and you're right, Joanna, Instagram has inherited this jail as well. And so if you were to go online and just book a one-on-one session with me, have me do all this work for you of drawing it out, you normally pay $500 for that. Ask my clients, they actually pay more for it at this point because I force bundles for what they're doing at this point. So you can't even really buy this, but I put a value on it of $500. Then a new and updated training for 2018. And so it's on getting the most out of Facebook in 2018, the new rules, the new ad manager, how to use Insight. So all the same stuff that we covered last year for those of you that were part of the group, but for those of you who weren't in the know at this point, you're going to see some new stuff. So I'm going to start, even if you've never placed a Facebook or Instagram ad before, at that level. So we're going to do the basics of ad manager. We're going to do the basics of retargeting. If you've never placed an ad, or you don't know how to measure them, or you don't know how they're supposed to look, we're going to talk about that. And the feedback, as always, is built into the community. It's built into the program, so we'll be doing feedback sessions as well. We're going to talk about how to combine your quote-unquote organic strategies, when to boost posts, when to place ads, when to retarget, when to build your audiences, all those things, because it's all unified now. You cannot have a separate strategy and expect to be successful. And so then we want to combine your content strategy with ads for maximum effect. Again, the cheapest ads you're going to place at this point are ads to content, and then your conversion should be happening in retargeting. So for those of you who are not familiar with Facebook ads, or when I say words like retargeting, you're like, what does that even mean? That's some of what you need to know at this point. So that course is valued at $350, and it's probably going to be more because I know it's going to be more than 4 modules this year. I'm going to add modules on. We're going to do it every Tuesday for the month of February, where we cover all that stuff, but I'm going to add on some new components and additional components this year to talk about group management, added social management, engagement, retargeting, all that stuff. And so that's when that'll be. So that'll be $350 for that. So now we're up to $850 if you're buying these things separately. And then 60 days of the premium community, where we're adding a bunch of new amazing stuff. I've been working with Diane, my other partners, Karen, all those courses. And so 60 days of Your Momentum Now Premium. So that includes over 20 different training programs for those of you who haven't looked at it in a while, including the amazing Publishing 101, 1, 2, 3, 4 Marketing. Last year's Facebook ads course is going to go in there now. And so there's over 20 programs, hours and hours and hours of training from me and our featured experts here in the community, from marketing to sales to publishing to business planning. If you were buying this independently, you'd pay $25 a month, $25.55. And then we're also adding a new monthly Q&A call for premium members to get some group coaching, to get some feedback on what they're doing as well. And so that's valued at $51.10. And so now we're up to $901.10. And all of you who've seen slides like this before know where this is going. But I want to ask you a question before I get there. So if all we do, and all you got out of this tonight, is keep you from falling in the Facebook hole, or for some of you, gets you out of Facebook altogether. Some of you might realize you learn this stuff and you're like, I want to focus on this as a side part of my strategy. I'm not going to invest in Facebook as much as I did before, knowing what it's going to take or what the budgets are going to look like. If you actually continue to find leads and customers off Facebook, which I know a ton of you struggle with at this point, it gets you focused and organized in your marketing, which a lot of you need that. And again, that's why I'm adding the marketing components this year, as opposed to just talking about Facebook ads. It was narrow in a way, and I want to cover that. Or it teaches you strategies to use in all areas of your business, which I want you to do, because really what I really want from all of you is to get organized in this thing. If that's all it does, obviously that would be worth a lot more than $901, and you're not going to pay that anyway, because for watching this and sitting through my training and my bad jokes and my Zuckerberg pictures and all that stuff, if you want to be part of this new course, this is the price for people who have never taken it before or are not in the premium community, is $297. And that's the page right there, exploremomentum.com/results. Now, I do want to include a quick note before I do that at this point. If you are already in the premium community, you get a discount. Send me a message on Facebook. I will give you that discount code, and that's going to take a big percentage off your program. So if you are already in the paid membership, you're going to get a discount. If you were in the Facebook ads course last year, which I know a lot of you were, I see Sharon, I see Jill, I see Cheryl, I see people who were in this course last year, you are also going to get a big discount on this. So you will not pay the $297. If you want to do this, send me a message. There's a promo code set up to put in. You will not pay full price for that either at this point. So you will not pay the full $297. So for those of you out there who don't want to pay the $297 or want a bit more of a discount, if you have not subscribed to the premium community for $25 a month, you will get that discount as well if you sign up for the premium community tonight. And I'm not done asking questions, so don't worry. I'm just talking about the program this year. So if you want to do it again this year and get the new course, send me a message. I will send you the promo code and the discount. If you're already in the premium community, which I know a lot of you are, send me a message. You'll get the discount. If you're like, I just want to be part of this community and get trainings like this all the time, send me a message. You'll get the discount. It's exploremomentum.com/results and all that stuff. And let me just cover a couple more things, because obviously from here you can choose what you do. And I always just like to point that out. You can choose what you do. There are bajillion million trainings on this. I know that you can shop around between gurus forever. I know because I do a lot of that myself. I shop around between gurus, strategies all the time. In fact, I spend this time doing the work that most of you don't want to do. Watching Ryan Dice, watching all these trainings, watching Ryan Levesque, Jeff Walker, Brendan Burchard, all these guys that do this at the highest level. Then I have an agency where I do it for a living, and I'm on the line for performance and for results and for all those types of things. So I do all that work so that you can show up in one organized place, have it organized, and you get the strategy session for what you're doing. So now we're going to work a lot more one-on-one. And if you want to use Facebook to find more customers, you can make the commitment to this course at $297 or less. If you meet one of those conditions, get in touch with me, send me a Facebook message about it. I will send you the promo code, which gives you a discount and all that stuff. You can make a commitment at exploremomentum.com/results and get that going. And then there's a money-back guarantee on top of it, because I really care about whether or not you actually like this stuff, whether this actually works for you. So if you go through everything, if you do a one-on-one session with me, if you go through what's probably going to be 15 to 20 hours of training this year and the campaign reviews and all that stuff, and you're just like, this course is not worth it, which I'm pretty sure it will be worth it. But if you think it's not worth it, there's always a money-back guarantee. And so when you go through it, if you go, I've completed it, it just is not right for me, which I really try to make sure that that doesn't happen. But if for any reason at this point, that's it, I will completely refund your money, exploremomentum.com/results. And then, again, I'm not just a marketing guru. A lot of you know I'm a speaker, I'm a trainer. My business focus has changed a lot over the years. I'm not just the Facebook ads guy. A lot of you might realize that. I've been doing that as an agency, but I'm focused on a lot more than Facebook ads. Those of you that are here, you know me. You know that I care about the results. I care about these programs being good. I care about sharing all that I can and making sure that this is actually good, knowledgeable, useful stuff in what we've got here. So, again, that's why I offer guarantees, all that stuff. Julie is like, no one's going to ask for their money back. I just have to say it in case anybody's like, this is the worst training I've ever taken. But if someone's like that, I always give the guarantee. And so, again, there's the one-on-one strategy session. There's the live sessions. Obviously, everything is also on demand. 60 days of Your Momentum Now Premium for $297. And I'm going to answer some questions before I go tonight. But if you're interested in this, you can sign up right now. exploremomentum.com/results. As Diane said, if you're in, type you're in as well and let me know. If you want to send me a message and get those promo codes, as I mentioned, I'm giving a big discount, especially to those of you that took this last year, because you've seen some of this training before, but you're going to get a few different things where we do the one-on-one session, where we review your specific campaign, where I can talk to you a little bit more about your strategy, what you want to accomplish, all those things. I'm going to put me over my little picture of myself. Look at how clever that is. But exploremomentum.com/results. Isn't it always good when you watch somebody pat themselves on the back about work that they're doing? And so Allison asked another question. Do you discourage putting out a message to followers and group members about how the upcoming changes will affect their reach, and to encourage them to comment on posts they really like? I do not discourage that. Anything that creates conversation is good at this point. So even though those messages are super annoying and you're seeing everyone do those things, they're actually effective because people respond to them. So do things, and sometimes you have to do things you wouldn't expect to do at this point to get people to pay attention. Do not feel bad about doing things that create conversation, that get interaction. Don't feel bad about it. So yes, definitely do things like that at this point. I do not discourage you at all to do that. And Diane says that. I do it all the time. Sometimes it's cheap, and that's the thing that makes it the most frustrating. Sometimes it feels cheap, and that's just the way it is at this point. But that's where you are right now, is that Facebook is requiring this type of interaction. They want the sticky posts. They want people to stay on Facebook. And again, that's a lot of what I'm going to talk about in the training course this year, in that updated version, is how that specifically works. And so, again, exploremomentum.com/results if you want the whole system. And if not, For those of you that don't, that doesn't mean like, hey, I'm not going to show up and do trainings like this all the time, because I am. In fact, I heard a great quote while I was at my mastermind group over the weekend that says, you know, for the most part, if you stick with me long enough, I'm sure I'll talk about it in trainings, or you can get me to talk about it at this point. Lots of examples of sticky posts. Yes. And really what I want to focus on in the course, as I always do, is I really want to focus on what you're doing. So like Gina's is a perfect example, and I'll do that not in the course. So Gina, if you're still watching, send me your Facebook, your stats, and I'll do a breakdown here in the community for it. So our premium community's here, our Facebook community's here, all that stuff is here in the same Facebook group. I don't split it, so I do want to share that session with those of you that took the time to watch this. And I hope, again, for a lot of you, you got some value out of this on what you need to do with the engagement, combining it with the ads. A lot of you needed to know that stuff just to begin with, to say, like, having boosted posts and having that stuff in there at this point. So, yeah, you can do that. So anybody that's in there, again, thank you for those of you that are sending messages to me. I've gotten 3 already who want the promo code. So again, just shoot me a Facebook message or respond to the email, whatever works. I will send you the discount one. So Gina, what stats to send? So in your Facebook Ads Manager, send me the, I need to know your spend amount or your bid amount, your spend amount, your bid amount, what you were paying per click, and your relevance score. So basically, like, take a crop of the Facebook Ad Manager that shows what you spent, the amounts per click, the how many people you reached. So just send me a screenshot of that one piece of your Ad Manager with the relevance score. And if you can, what would also help at this point, send me the ad creative as well. So what was in the ad. Allison's awesome. Allison, if you didn't see her webinar last night, did a great webinar. Allison's one of our featured experts in the community here. If you didn't see her webinar last night on parenting, or you haven't watched her webinar in our free community. So for those of you who are in the free Facebook group, if you didn't know this, you have access to tons and tons of different trainings. A lot of people don't realize that there's so many different trainings. Allison and I did an interview a couple months ago about her style of positive parenting education. And so that's available in Your Momentum Now for that. One other thing I want to bring up for a lot of you out there, a lot of you don't realize that we are a community model. So at this point, really, what you can do is, maybe this isn't for you, but maybe you know somebody who this is for. I pay commission on all of our referrals throughout our entire process, whether it's the free community, the paid community, all that stuff. So I always bring it up, but I'm going to type it in the comments as well. If you're like, this isn't for me, but I know who it's for, sign up as a referral partner and send them this replay, send them the link, and put that stuff in there at this point, and we'll make it happen. And again, thanks to all of you who promoted this tonight. A lot of you sent this out to your friends. So Diane, thank you for sharing. Allison, thank you for sharing. You know, for all of you, if you know people that need this education and that need this course and need the help, send them our way. ExploreMomentum.com/partner, and you get commissions on anything they ever do throughout their lifetime with us, whether it's our community, whether it's our membership, whether it's our programs like this, which are more in depth at this point. So yeah. And again, send me a message if you want the discount. What else do we have? Thanks, Joanna. Great session. I would like to know more about my experience gathering leads via other social channels. So let's talk about that. One of the things I didn't spend a ton of time talking about tonight that I want to reference a little bit more is I want to talk about the other networks and how they work. So obviously Twitter is focused very similarly on what Facebook's doing. Their ad model is very similar with sponsored tweets. I wouldn't say they're quite as bad as Facebook is right now, but it's definitely something that's happened. But yeah, that's really important to keep in mind, that, you know, Twitter is pretty similar to what Facebook is doing. Now, LinkedIn, for those of you who aren't paying attention to it, has started to announce that they're making some changes, but for right now, LinkedIn is still one of my best sources of people actually seeing the content I share with them. If you have business-to-business contacts on LinkedIn, don't hesitate to use it. Don't hesitate to link those things together, all that stuff. And so, yeah, that's important. And then let's talk about Pinterest. So Pinterest, you don't have to deal with that quite as much. Pinterest is still, if you have good content, it tends to get shared. It tends to rise to the top. So Pinterest, especially if you're trying to reach out to arts and crafts markets, network marketing, any women's markets at this point, Pinterest is great. Instagram has this thing with influencers, which is what makes it so great right now. Because Instagram hasn't changed to Facebook's reach yet, which, again, I'm not super confident it's going to stay that way forever. But for right now, influencer marketing on Instagram is one of the best ways to get where you're going. And hashtags. You want to make sure that you're still paying attention to your hashtags on Instagram at this point. There's lots of different ways that you can research what's trending right now on Instagram and leverage those hashtags when they're working to get images or content in front of people. Yes. So, Joanna, what else? What did I miss? I talked about Pinterest, I talked about Instagram, LinkedIn at this point. The one thing that's always tried and true and that always works is don't hesitate to use the messenger features of any social network. Send direct messages. Use Facebook Messenger. Use LinkedIn Messenger. When you get into a conversation with someone, if you want to send them a link, if you want them to see something, send them a direct message. Don't hesitate to use it. It's almost a guarantee they'll see it. It's normally a guarantee they'll see it on their phone. And if you send a good message with it so it doesn't feel super salesy or super spammy, or any of this stuff at this point, that's really critical. Jill, will I cover funneling at all, where you're doing strategic points to A and B and the benefits of doing these things? Yes, that's why I added the funnel map to this. That's why I added the integrated strategy to what we're doing here. So yes, that's part of what I want to cover in the individual sessions exactly with people, is to say, what are their funnels? Like, what are you funneling towards, so that I can give some feedback and suggestion on that? Because these days, your offers and your opt-ins are just as important. So yes, that will be part of what I cover. I see that Allison is sending all sorts of stuff. I'm going to tell her too. Don't hesitate to post as well. Thanks, Cassandra. Yes, and if you know, again, if you know of anybody that this makes sense for, don't hesitate to share it. I know a lot of you out there are already my referral partners. This is obviously going to be available for replay. I'm also going to set this up as an automated so that I can have different chats with people and post all this stuff in there. So I will have that available to partners as well. Yes. So don't hesitate to do that. And I know that, Allison, you did that today. Don't hesitate to use your partner links. For those of you who aren't familiar with our partner program and have never worked with it before, you get links to literally everything we do. So free webinars, you get links. Paid programs, you get links. The membership, you get links. The free community, you get links. Plus any of the individual webinars that we did. So Diane and Allison and Julia and all the folks, a lot of the folks who are in here have done a webinar with Your Momentum Now. And so at this point, yes, make sure that you are using your landing page still, because those webinars don't get pulled down. People can still opt in for each of those specific sessions. And then again, if they purchase anything, then you get commission on that. I think we have a few that are in, at least. I've had a lot of messages. I need to send promo codes, but I'm trying to answer questions before I go at this point. I'm shocked we've had so many of you stay around from beginning to end. I need to do this a lot more often this year. I've been so bad with my Facebook Lives, but I wasn't feeling camera ready. I'm sure some of you have that thing sometimes where you're just like, I'm not feeling camera ready. That's kind of messy, you know? For some of you, I know you understand. You're like, you just feel kind of messy. You don't feel like doing it. Now I'm like, we have to do Facebook ads again this year, because Facebook ads was the best thing that we did last year. And so many of you that are here tonight were in that course last year. If you were in the course last year, please let people know what you thought. In fact, I think, Jill, you gave a testimonial that's on my banner. But seriously, for those of you that took it last year, please share, like, what did you get from it? I know a lot of you kind of watched it and went, this is a lot of work, and then pulled out of it, which I understand happens for a lot of people. And this is the refresher. How long is the promo on for? I'm going to leave it on through next week. Thank you. I look and sound great. I appreciate that. If I don't know, Nicole, massive imperfect action. Yes, very true. And again, for those of you who are wondering about this program, if you have people to share it with, I just sent out the announcement to all the partners today, if you weren't a partner, to get your link. So you get commission if you have people that you want to bring into the program. So like I know I saw Diane share her link. I know Allison shared her link, etc., etc. Any other questions? Any comments on last year's program? But things happened and I never got a chance to finish. No problem. So you haven't placed an ad yet. It's always better to not spend if you're not comfortable. For those of you who aren't comfortable, don't spend. Don't waste your money. In fact, that's the first rule I say. Don't spend without a strategy, ever. If you're not sure what you're doing, don't spend. I would rather, for those of you out there who are like, I can't spend right now, or even if you're concerned about the price of this right now, you're like, I can't do this right now. Your job is to start sending out direct messages every single day. So you can do that in a lot of different ways. Oh, hey. So thank you. Diane says, anyone who buys today, I will give them help creating social media crapportunity. Nice. Thank you, Diane. Make sure you tell me how to share that with people, but you have to buy today. Okay, I track all that. So anybody that buys today, there's additional stuff. Yeah, she didn't even know that business.facebook.com was even there. The stuff in that area for ads is way more detailed. Yeah. Well, and we'll talk about advanced audience a lot more because that targeting through insights, like what we talked about last year at this point, that stuff has changed. Yep. Oh, wow. So Diane's throwing in an extra session. 1 hour private session about your business and how to turn crisis into opportunity. I know for some of you that have been going through crisis, including myself, Diane was just here. Diane gave me the bonus crapportunity session where she flew to Boston and gave me the bonus 2 weeks of us working together on my business and her stuff, which is part of the reason I'm back in the game. So thank you, Diane. Yes, I will track it. They do need to clean it up, but they kind of keep it intentionally obfuscated because, again, Facebook wants you sweet, sweet money. They're never going to make it super straightforward because they want the money. And they know money that doesn't work as well for your stuff isn't going to be great. You're not a techno peasant. Sharon, didn't you take the course last year? Or no, you may be someone... So if you took the course last year, again, do not sign up without the promo code. Send me a message for the promo code. Or if you're in the premium membership, you pay the monthly subscription, or you did the annual, which I know some of you did, send me a message before you buy. Okay, so Diane, it's only good for those who sign up and pay today. So you get a one-on-one with me, and you get a one-on-one with Diane. I wasn't expecting that. So I'll make sure that Diane knows anything that I know about you. And like I said, send me a message. Yes, I will send the promo codes as soon as we're off today. I'm just here answering questions and all that stuff. I just wanted to stick around as long as there were questions, people wanted to know stuff, any of that. Anything else? I got texts. Thank you so much to those of you reaching out to me. All right. If you guys are in, let me know. If you have questions about Diane or any of that stuff, let me know. Can you change from WordPress to GoDaddy and use that thing that embeds to send people to the website? Yes. And I'm going to talk more about WordPress and landing pages and that stuff this year as well. Yep. Can you sign up as a partner in conjunction with being a member? Of course. You don't have to be a member of anything to be a partner. So if you're like, I can't do the program right now, but I want to tell people about it, that's fine. That's fine. And I know for some of you, like I said, if that's where you are right now, take my advice. And I gave the advice. Take my advice. Send out 5 direct messages a day at this point. 5 direct messages a day. Yes, Cheryl's waiting for a promo code. I just need to send you guys the promo codes, which I will do. Cheryl, I don't have a message from you. I'm going to message you real quick. So let's talk about that. If WordPress, if you were struggling with it, let's talk about it. Most of all, let's talk about Thrive, which is something... Did I talk about Thrive in the course last year? Thrive Builder? I may not have talked about it a lot. There's in the premium membership, there is a website basics course. So any of you that get this tonight, there's a course that I did about 2 months ago on website basics. For those of you who need to know the basics. And that is here. I'm going to post it. Actually, let me post that in the chat. It's on the member dashboard for premium members. And again, anybody that gets this at this point is going to be a premium member for 60 days. So you will get access to this. So don't buy it when I post it, because I'm going to post a link. Where am I posting it? Let me find it. Here it is. So this will not work if you're not logged in and have a premium membership. But this is me breaking down some basic WordPress stuff. Again, keep in mind, this will not work if you're not a premium member. And yeah, again, I know a lot of you out there watching this were watching for this session, and you might have people who need to see this or want to see this, or we have other sessions. So I'm going to be doing a lot more of this over the next couple of weeks and keep talking about this topic and other topics. There's a lot in the premium community for that stuff. I just moved somebody off of GoDaddy Site Builder. It wasn't the most pleasant experience doing that. My good friend Yudi. There's issues with everything. If we didn't talk about Thrive, let's talk about that. Yes, and Diane will give me all the info for anybody that signs up today. We will get you that. And then as soon as we're off here, I'm going to send promo codes. Not trying to delay. I just want to be able to answer any questions or respond to anything. All right. So, again, thank you so much. So many of you have stuck around this whole time. That's amazing of all of you. I really appreciate it. I really appreciate all the conversation. I appreciate all the support. Again, the offer tonight, exploremomentum.com/results. I posted the partner link in the chat as well. It's just exploremomentum.com/partner if you want to look at that. To sign up, exploremomentum.com/results. It's in there. Cheryl, since you're doing the program, I'll be able to look at your stuff directly. Let's talk about it specifically. Anybody that's doing the program, obviously you have a session with me. And then let's talk about what you were struggling with specifically. Because you're going to get one-on-one time, girl. That's what I'm adding this year. All right, guys. So since there haven't been more questions, I'm going to start sending out those codes. Again, please take a look at the very least, exploremomentum.com/results. Let's get your results on Facebook in 2018. This is something that I've spent the entire last few years of my life digging into deep. And you get Diane's help too if you buy tonight. So tonight only, you get that session if you buy from that. So again, exploremomentum.com/results. Or if you need to share this with your teammates, if you want to share this with your company, if you want to share this with anybody who you feel like needs the education and needs direct support, exploremomentum.com/partner. All right, thank you so much, everyone. I really appreciate all of it. I appreciate all of you for being part of this. And even if you don't take this offer tonight, there'll always be more to come from the Your Momentum Now community. I'll be posting about next week's training. Actually, I might do one again later this week to talk about a little bit more about Facebook. And so we'll have more coming. I'll talk to you all very soon. Have a great one.